Number 1. Self-esteem basic feeling. Pam started an insurance agency. In recent months, her business has grown so much that she has had to hire Linda, a young woman with good organization skills. Pam only has one problem. She feels unable to speak to Linda about certain things that are not going well. For example, in the beginning, Linda arrived on time to work, but at some point she began to arrive 50 or 20 minutes later. Now, there is rarely a day when she arrives on time. At the end of her day, Linda leaves right on time, no later or earlier. There is also the matter of people or personal telephone call. Linda has 2 or 3 friends who often carry her agency, and Linda seems to prolong this telephone conversation. That's the time Leo bother Pam, but she does not have the strength to talk to her employee about them. It is curious, she says about herself, "I'm the boss, and she's the one doing something wrong. But I do not have the courage to say anything because Linda does her work well and I cannot complain about other aspects of her performance. In the end, I'm afraid that she will quit and leave me without anyone." The true root of the problem is that Pam suffers from low self-esteem and seems incapable of playing the role of the employer, which is her legal position. Her low self-esteem and insecurity cause her to remain quiet in the face of problems in this and many other relationships. However, when she is alone, she feels upset and chided herself for not having expressed her point of view. If Pam were to improve the way she views herself, she would be able to speak up naturally when necessary and free herself from these feelings of regret. What is self-esteem? Self-esteem is the way in which a person values self. From very early in life, this trait develops primarily taught those messages, positive and negative, that will save from others. Point 1. You are so pretty. Point 2. You can learn very fast. Point 3. I think you are the least studious in the whole class. Point 4. When are you going to help me around the house without my having to remind you? It also develops total observation of others. George is much faster than me. Everyone like Laura because she is good-hearted. I'm not so kind. My cousin is very rich. I will never match his economic standing. From our childhood onwards, we continue to compare ourselves to those around us or to the image presented by the media. In this way, depending on how we receive these messages, our self-esteem is constantly influenced. What self-esteem is not. Having good self-esteem does not mean that one is perfect. Vain or bladder. True self-esteem does not manifest itself in self-concept. If I have a good self-esteem, it does not mean that I will constantly remind others of how important and my views or how much self-esteem is not narcissistic. No proud. Self-esteem does not put others down or ask others in order to promote oneself. Self-esteem is an honest, positive look at everything that one is and has. This actually represents the first step on the path to positive living within society. Self-concept and self-esteem. These two terms are closely related, carry an important and significant difference in meaning and must not be confused. Self-concept. Is the person's view of self it related to his or her appearance, intelligence, moral quality, personality, possessions, etc. For balanced people, self-concept tends to closely reflect objective reality. Self-esteem, on the other hand, is one's judgment or power upon his or her own self-concept. If the person per se perceives that his or her self-evaluation is acceptable, there is no risk of low self-esteem. But when his evaluation is deficient, the person does not like self and feels frustrated. This can even lead to the person hurting self. There are two additional aspects of self that are related to one's self-concept and the power that he or she places upon it. These are the real self, or what one true is, and the ideal self, the desired self-image of what one would like to be. You know definition of self-esteem like that. Self-esteem can be defined in many valid ways as enumerated in this box. Each one of these definitions adds some aspect or nuance that help us understand the significance of this important feeling in the life of every person. What is self-esteem? Self-esteem is the way in which we appreciate ourselves, the way we recognize our strength, quality, and attributes. Attributes. That is first. Second, a mechanism of support in order to maintain equitable interpersonal relationships and prevent depreciation. Yes. Number 3, an essential step for success. Number 4, the subjective way in which we see ourselves, but which does not always represent objective reality or what others think for us. 5, the balanced measures of valuing ourselves. Self-esteem that is too low is understandable, wherein unrealistic high level causes others to avoid us. Did you know? In order to have a healthy and balanced self-esteem, a person must love, accept, and trust himself. Like example, Sylvia's profile. Leo self. What Sylvia Leo is: height 1.65 meter, weight 70 kg, face delicate, friendly, and feminine, health good, age middle age, intelligence high, verbal ability average, mathematical ability very high, personality introvert, suspicious, good-hearted, and with perfection its tendencies. Self-concept. What Sylvia believes she is. She thinks she's chubby. She believes she's likely. She does not believe that she is fearful or suspicious. In all other points, Sylvia's concept is in line with her real self reality. Self-esteem. She's not satisfied with her head. Sometimes she feels sad because she would like to be thinner. Dreams of being as beautiful as model. Believes that her mathematical ability bothers others who see her as pedantic. She's not satisfied with her quiet style. Ideal self. Sylvia wishes 10 cm taller and 5 kg lighter. As beautiful as the movie and television stars she sees in the media, not so adept at mathematics, more outgoing and Talkative. If the ideal self is very different from the real self or the self-concept, we find ourselves with important emotional imbalances that result in relationship problems. Sylvia's profit. The following example illustrates the relationship between real self, self-concept, self-esteem, and ideal self. In general terms, the more similarity there are between the first three and the more variable the aspect of the fourth, the greater will be the person's emotional balance and the possibility for development. Those who both understand themselves and are satisfied with their way of being and who have a reasonable desire to improve their weaknesses are less likely to experience a feeling of inadequacy or emotional and behavioral imbalance. The box that describes Sylvia's profile provides an example which illustrates Sylvia's real self, self-concept, self-esteem, and the ideal self. Observation about Sylvia's profile. Number 1. Self-concept. Sylvia suffers from discordant point due to her wrong perception. At the same time, she's mistaken. Yes, she's mistaken about certain aspect of herself. Number 2, self-esteem. There's a point to illustrate certain dissatisfaction with self, some of which are true while some are imaginary. Number 3, ideal self. Sylvia has dream and desire about who should like to be. Some are realistic, while others are illogical and based on a wrong self-concept. This incongruence between Sylvia's ideal self and her self-concept or self-esteem can cause her much unhappiness and frustration. Yes. Did you know? The concept we have of course ourselves can limit our success in life. Generally, we tend to judge ourselves below our real capability. That's necessary to value ourselves more often and better. Number 1. No matter how much she worries, Sylvia cannot add a single centimeter to her height, and she should adjust her self-esteem until she is satisfied, not just resigned, with her true stature. Number 2. Lose a little weight. Although she fit within the range of normal weight, Sylvia could lose 4 or 5 kilos by reducing her caloric intake and engaging in physical exercises. Normally, such a step will boost her self-esteem. Number 3. Engage in thought and self-persuasion. Now, engage in thought and persuasion exercise in order to accept that her face is beautiful and does not need to be like those of famous women in order to feel beautiful. Repeat it to herself, I'm beautiful to all. Beautiful to all. Those who accept and appreciate me. Everyone is different and beauty is reality. Number 4. Accept her numerical ability and feel proud of this gift. Believe that not only do her colleagues and friends accept her, but they also respect her for her mathematical ability. Number 5. Become more of an extrovert. This is a legitimate and achievable goal. Sylvia should force herself to attend more parties and events in order to facilitate conversation with a variety of persons. She should allow herself the opportunity to initiate most of these encounters. It is very important to set goals, such as the examples in Sylvia's case, when there is significant disability between the real self and their ideal self. It is easier for behavioral or mental health problems to occur. How self-esteem is formed. Self-esteem is formed or deformed through external influence. One is environment serves as a changing mirror of one's own self-concept, childhood experiences, social context, positive reaction from those near us. The success that one experiences are among the most obvious sources of self-esteem. Number 1. Childhood experience. From very early in life, children begin to form their self-concept through the reaction of parents and other adults, and by observing their own actions, they begin developing an identity. Boy, 4-year-old, black hair, good to eat, etc. The age between 6 and Yes, the age between 6 and 12 years tends to be the most important when it comes to development of one's self-concept. This is adapted to the malleable nature of the child and the effect of school, where one is constantly being compared with others, not only scholastically but also in sport, game, leadership, ability, etc. Value study consists in identifying the following 5 basic sources for the formation of self-esteem in this order to importance: physical appearance, social acceptance, scholastic task, behavior, and game and sport. Sharing so much time together along with the continual observation of the other in these situations causes self-esteem to take on a form that will even affect one's life in adulthood. According to physiologist Eric Erickson, it is during schoolage that the foundation of healthy self-esteem or an inferiority complex are established. Also, a traumatic experience lived during this time in life can have an adverse effect on the self-esteem in adulthood, as can be seen in the case discussed in the box on the previous page. Yes. Did you know? Parents and teachers should help to develop a child's self-esteem. From very young children should have a mental and spiritual self-concept that is realistic and positive. Number 2, the environment. The social environment of the family, and in a special way, the general environment of society, plays an important role in self-esteem. One clear example is that of the media. When on a daily basis we see advertisement or image of famous people, we compare ourselves with them even if we do not realize it. If we see them as more eloquent, better dressed, and with more ability, we learn the risk of assigning a lower personal value to ourselves than with the self. Expectations coming from the society in which we live also define success or failure. For example, while one society value knowledge of English and technology, another see hunting or agriculture as more desirable. If we lack those skills upon which our society places so much importance, we again run the risk of developing low self-esteem. Did you know? Nothing bears such positive influence or stimulates self-esteem in each member of the couple as kind words of admiration given by one spouse to the other. Number 4, information that will save from other. Do without the other says about me help me to form my own estimation of myself. This is significant within the concept of the family or couple. A husband's self-esteem is enhanced through what does diminish from his wife, and vice versa. The comment made by parents about their children in matter of studies, sport, friendships, etc. or etc. cause the children to auto-define themselves, liking or hating who they believe themselves to be. All of this information carries more weight when it comes from loved ones than from those with whom we do not share any emotional tie. So that is number 3. And number 4, personal accomplishment. Any accomplishment, whether large or smaller, is source of improving one's self-esteem if it is perceived as important. For some, it might be success on a test or exam that contributes to self-esteem. For others, the purchase of a new home or even a craft or hobby that is well done may be the contributing factor. In general, self-esteem is nourished by that which is considered precious and costs energy to acquire. Finally, we must say that although basic self-esteem remains constant, one's self-concept can easily change. For example, a woman who has had an open and sensitive conversation with her husband in which she has heard words of affirmation and approval will have a much higher self-esteem than normal during hours or days following the conversation if these affirmative conversations are frankly repeated, a permanent and adequate self-esteem result. Cause of low self-esteem. Why do some people seem to have a balanced concept of who they are and of their worth? What are the reasons why others seem to see themselves in a distorted way? Although the result of longitudinal studies in which the development of self-esteem has been observed across many persons do not provide a complete answer, they can provide the partial insight into these questions. Here are the most notable findings. Point 1. Belonging to a minority group. Member of an ethnic, religious, or racial group that is not the dominant majority tend to have lower self-esteem. In effect, when prestigious professionals, positions of authority, money, and other resources are in the hands of the most powerful social group, everyone else learns the risk of seeing themselves as inferior. We must point out that in some cases, this is actually the opposite occurs. When a minority group has made the effort to develop sense of pride based on membership in that culture or ethnic group, its members come to feel true, satisfied, and secure within that group. Point 2. Belonging to social class perceived as being inferior to the majority. Even without belonging to the distinct culture group, when the person belongs to the working class, this can contribute to a feeling of inferiority or shame. These beliefs are tied to one's low self-concept. This is especially important when the father in the family is unemployed. Unemployment in almost all cultures can lead to loss of self-esteem, not only for the affected person but also for his family member. Point 3. Lacking education. The level of studies that one has achieved is also a factor that affects self-esteem. Those who have achieved high educational levels tend to have high self-esteem, while those who are uneducated run a greater risk of suffering from low self-esteem. In point number 4, belonging to the female gender. On average, women have lower level of self-esteem than men. Although the difference is not excessive, it is much more pronounced during adolescence. This may be due to gender physiology, which is different for men and women. Affective response among males tend to be tough and more resistant to the commentary of others, while females tend to be more sensitive and to give more importance to comments made by others. Number 5, physical appearance. The attractive person who presents herself well-turned to feel happy and more satisfied with self than the one who does not possess these traits. However, beauty is very subjective, and the way in which one judges one's own physique varies considerably. For this reason, it is not uncommon to find persons with pleasant appearance who are not satisfied with themselves, while others, less attractive people, accept and are happy with their appearance. Yes.